Before you scroll past this message, hear this divine interruption, because this may be the one whisper from heaven that stands between the chaos that's coming and the breakthrough your soul has been crying out for. My beloved, the urgency in my spirit today cannot be overstated. I feel the weight of eternity leaning into this moment, your moment, and I must speak. Not with condemnation, not with cold judgment, but with the blazing, unrelenting love of Jesus Christ that refuses to let you drift without direction. If you are hearing these words right now, understand this. This is not coincidence. This is a divine intervention, tailor-made for you. You may feel distant. You may feel like you've lost your grip on what once anchored your soul. But hear me clearly, heaven has not gone silent. Jesus has not abandoned you. You are not forgotten. You are not cast aside. In fact, you are being pursued, relentlessly pursued, by a Savior who still calls your name in the midnight hour. There is something critical, something sacred, that must be addressed in your spirit. Not to shame you, but to awaken you. You've walked into territory that wasn't meant to define you. You've opened doors that are stealing your peace. And now, before those consequences take deeper root, Jesus is stepping in, not to punish you, but to pull you back from what your heart cannot yet see. This is not a rebuke, it is a rescue. Because he loves you too much to stay silent while you walk into confusion. He cares too deeply to allow emotional numbness to replace the fire he once lit inside of you. And I speak these words with trembling reverence because I know someone watching this is on the edge of spiritual collapse, and God is stepping in right now to stop the fall. Let's pause. Before we confront what's wrong, let's remember what's right. Let's remember what Jesus sees when he looks at you. He sees your resilience, those silent battles you fought when no one was watching. He sees the nights you cried but still whispered, "Jesus, I trust you." He remembers the mornings you got up when everything in you wanted to stay in bed. He was there when you gave even when your heart felt empty, when you forgave even when the pain was fresh, when you worshipped through the weight of grief and fear. You haven't gone unnoticed. You've stood when others walked away. You've whispered his name when it cost you your comfort. You've honored truth in a world obsessed with compromise. And every time you did, the heavens rejoiced, not because you were perfect, but because you chose him anyway. But now, hear this with love. There is a subtle drift in your soul. Not dramatic, not loud, but dangerous nonetheless. And if left unchecked, it could pull you into seasons you were never meant to enter. Cycles of confusion, spiritual fatigue, emotional isolation. Traps designed by the enemy to make you feel disconnected from the very source of your strength. But the Lord, in his mercy, is sounding an alarm right now. He is calling you back, not just to church, not just to routine, but to deep personal intimacy with him. The kind of relationship where your heart is fully known, your wounds are fully seen, and your destiny is fiercely protected by his hands. This isn't just a spiritual nudge, it's a divine course correction. There are blessings you've been praying for that cannot reach you in your current posture. There are answers that have been delayed because your spirit is misaligned. And Jesus is saying, "Come back. Come closer. Let me restore what life tried to steal." This is your moment to turn. Not because you're broken beyond repair, but because you're too precious to leave half-healed. Too valuable to continue operating from survival mode when you were made for revival. So let me speak to the weariness in your bones. Let me speak to the heartbreak that has grown familiar. Let me speak to the places in you that feel too ashamed, too angry, or too lost to be seen. Jesus sees them, and still he calls you worthy. Still he says you're mine. Still, he whispers, "Return to me and I will give you rest." You may have made mistakes, but your mistakes are not your identity. You may have wandered, but you are not forgotten. You may feel spiritually dry, but rivers of living water still flow from his throne, and he is ready to flood your soul again. Don't ignore this tug. Don't scroll past this sacred moment like it's just another motivational clip. This is heaven invading your now. This is Jesus leaning in, saying, "Let me lead again. Let me be the center again. Let me rebuild what was broken." Because what's ahead of you is too great for you to carry alone. And what's inside of you is too powerful to stay buried under guilt, fear, or routine. If you hear his voice today, do not harden your heart. Lean in. Let go of what's pulling you away. Repent, not out of fear, but out of love. Return, not because you're weak, but because you're wise. The hour is urgent. The calling is holy. And your destiny is still intact. Don't let shame win. Don't let busyness drown out the voice that still calls you, my child. Let Jesus break through the fog. Let him touch the part of you that hasn't felt alive in a long time. He's not finished. Not even close. There is a sacred joy that rises within me as I watch you move forward, even when your steps feel small to you. Know that I see each one, and I rejoice over you with a love that does not waver and a delight that does not fade. I have watched over you in your becoming, seen every battle you fought in silence, and celebrated the strength it took just to choose me again and again when no one else could see the cost. You are not lost in the crowd to me. You are not overlooked. My eyes have never left you. And even now, as I draw near to speak, I come not with condemnation, but with a love that refuses to let you settle for less than the fullness I have prepared for you. I come as the shepherd who leaves the 99 to find the one heart that is quietly drifting, not in rebellion, but in subtle compromise. I know how hard you've tried. I know your longing for me is real. But I also see something tucked away in the corners of your soul, something you may not have noticed, or perhaps chose to dismiss as unimportant. It's not always the dramatic failures that threaten the intimacy between us. It's often the quieter things, the hidden attitudes, the unchecked thoughts that seem too small to be dangerous. But I see clearly what you cannot yet see fully. I see the way that thought you entertained yesterday is shaping the decisions you're about to make tomorrow. I see how that unchecked desire is drawing your gaze away from me, little by little, without you even realizing the shift. You may have convinced yourself that it's harmless, that it's not sin, just a passing habit or a fleeting indulgence. But my beloved, I am not after mere outward obedience. I am after your whole heart. And I know when part of it begins to lean away from me, even slightly, because I feel it. I feel the distance long before you notice it. I sense the growing silence in your spirit, the hesitation in your surrender, the way you pause before saying yes to me like you used to without question. You've stood firm in trials that would have crushed others. You've worshipped me in seasons of suffering, and I have never forgotten those moments of pure devotion. But now I see that something else is quietly growing in your heart. A mindset, a distraction, a justification that was never meant to dwell within you. And though it seems small to you now, I see how it is shaping you in ways you cannot afford to ignore. Hear me clearly, this is not wrath speaking. This is not disappointment. This is the voice of the one who laid down his life to draw you close forever, now calling you again, with the same intensity, the same yearning, the same hope that brought me to the cross. I am reaching for you, not because you have failed, but because I know what lies ahead. I know the weight this hidden thing will add to your soul. I know how it will darken your clarity, how it will silence your discernment if allowed to remain. And so, I am not speaking to your shame, I am speaking to your freedom. I am calling to the light in you that still burns, even if dimmer now. I am awakening your spirit to truth again, not harsh, condemning truth, but truth that heals the fractures and lifts your eyes back to me. There is something inside of you right now that you've allowed to stay too long. An idea, a distraction, a pattern that is starting to put down roots. And I am asking you, in love, to surrender it before it becomes a fortress that keeps you from fully hearing my voice. You thought it was small, insignificant, something you could handle, but I see the direction it's pulling you, and I won't remain silent while you drift from the joy and clarity I paid everything to give you. Let me take this from you, not because you are weak, but because I am strong enough to carry what was never yours to hold. Let me lift this burden, not because I am angry, but because I long to see you fully alive again, completely awake to my presence, wholly free in your worship. I did not call you to walk in partial light. I called you to radiate with my glory from the inside out. This moment is not a rebuke, it is a rescue. This is the gentle, persistent love of Jesus reaching into the depths of your heart and saying, "Come back closer. Lay it down. Let me restore what's been dulled. Let me renew what has faded. I don't want your perfection, I want your attention. I want the quiet, hidden places that no one else sees. I want your secret thoughts, your inner world, the parts you don't talk about, the choices you make when you're alone. Because I dwell not just in your church attendance or your public faith. I dwell in your honesty, your surrender, your private moments of yes. I am calling you higher, not through pressure, but through passion. My grace is not passive, it transforms. My mercy is not permission to remain unchanged. It is the power that lifts you into the fullness you were made for. So don't ignore this moment. Don't explain it away. Don't push it aside as emotion or overthinking. This is me. This is Jesus. This is the voice you've known since the beginning, calling you once again, into deeper waters, into greater peace, into fuller joy, into unshakable wholeness. I am not asking you to figure it out alone. I am asking you to let go, and let me lead you back to the place where your soul breathes freely again. This is not a warning to fear, it is a plea born from love. The time is now, my child. Not later. Not after another delay. Not when you feel ready. You are hearing this for a reason. This is your moment to surrender what you've justified for too long and step fully into the light you were born to walk in. You are not alone in this. I am with you. I will help you, strengthen you, and show you the joy of freedom once again. All I ask is that you respond, that you listen, that you take this message as a turning point, not of shame, but of sacred transformation. Because what's ahead of you is far greater than what you're holding on to. Let go, my child. Let me do a new thing within you. My arms are open, and so is the door to your next chapter. My precious child, there's something subtle yet significant that I must bring to your attention. Something that has quietly built a barrier between you and the abundant blessings I've longed to pour into your life. You may not even realize it, but it's interfering with the intimacy I desire to share with you, slowing the movement of my divine presence and obstructing the outpouring of the favor I've reserved for you. And I cannot sit by and let this unseen hindrance persist. Now, you may be wondering, Lord, what could I possibly be doing wrong? On the surface, everything may appear orderly and calm. You may feel confident in your walk with me, believing that your heart is aligned and your intentions are pure. But I am not coming to you today in condemnation. I am not pointing a finger in blame. Rather, I speak from a place of deep love and divine desire to see you completely free. I know your efforts. I see your heart and how sincerely you've tried to walk in the direction I've set before you. And yet, there's a small, often overlooked area that has quietly weakened your connection with me. An area that seems insignificant but is, in truth, pivotal. It's the subtle detachment that has crept into your trust in me. Yes, my beloved, it's your faith, not your actions, that needs your attention. Somewhere, in the journey of pursuing purpose and managing responsibilities, you began leaning more on your own judgment and less on my voice. You started trusting your own thoughts more than my instructions, and while you may not have noticed the shift, I have watched it happen gently over time. Where once you brought every decision before me, seeking my guidance with humility and anticipation, now you often rush ahead, assuming your knowledge will carry you through. You've begun to shoulder weights that were never meant for you to carry alone, taking on emotional and mental burdens that drain your peace and deplete your joy. You rely on your skills, your experiences, your plans, and in doing so, you've unknowingly pushed my hand further away. I see how your fears have started whispering louder than your faith. I observe how anxiety has become a louder counselor in your life than my spirit. These small compromises in trust have dimmed the light of our connection. You're still walking the path, yes, but you're walking it with a heavy heart and tired steps, missing the ease and rest that come from surrendering every step to me. You didn't arrive at this moment because everything unfolded flawlessly. You are here, still standing, still breathing, because Jesus carried you through the chaos you thought would break you. His hands were beneath you when you had nothing left to give. His mercy was holding you together when the world around you fell apart. And those same hands that steadied your trembling heart then are still holding you now, unwavering and faithful through every storm and every silence. Even in the places where confusion has outnumbered clarity, and your prayers felt like they fell into the dark with no echo in return, Jesus was near. He never stepped away. He never grew tired of your questions, never flinched at your doubt, never abandoned you in your aching. Instead, he stood with you in the shadows, whispering hope when you could no longer find it on your own. Your vulnerability has never been a weakness in his eyes. It has been a doorway. A doorway through which his power can enter and do what your strength could never accomplish. So, if you're tired, if you're broken, if you're unsure, bring it all to him. Lay it at his feet. Not just the parts you think are presentable, but everything. The confusion, the anger, the fear, the dreams you buried because they didn't happen in the timing you expected. Jesus doesn't need perfection. He desires surrender. He's not waiting for you to have it all figured out. He's inviting you to trust him with what you don't yet understand. His plans are not confined to the timeline you imagined. His promises are not bound by human logic. What looks like delay to you is divine orchestration to him. While you're waiting, he's preparing. While you're questioning, he's refining. And while you're hurting, he's healing things in you that pain tried to destroy. There are no wasted seasons with Jesus. Not one moment of suffering, not one tear cried in secret, is invisible to him. He collects them. He redeems them. And he will use even the broken pieces of your past to build something more beautiful than you can yet comprehend. You are not forgotten in the waiting. You are not invisible in the silence. Heaven sees you. Jesus walks with you. So take the pressure off your shoulders. The weight was never yours to carry alone. Stop trying to navigate the unknown in your own strength. Stop letting fear write the script of your story. Jesus is already ahead of you, paving a way where there seemed to be no way, opening doors that align with your purpose, and closing those that would have led you away from your calling. What you call a setback, he's calling a setup for something greater. What you think is an ending, he's calling a redirection into deeper blessing. Let go of the need to be strong all the time. Let go of the voice that says you're not enough. You are more than enough, not because of your perfection, but because Jesus is present in every imperfect part of you. His love doesn't change with your performance. His grace doesn't shrink when you fall short. His faithfulness doesn't waver with your questions. He is the same yesterday, today, and forever, and he will never stop pursuing your heart with relentless love. There is purpose in the process. There is destiny woven into the detours. There is resurrection waiting in places that feel like graves. What you thought was dead in your life, Jesus can breathe on it again. What you thought was too late, he can restore in ways you never imagined. He is not done with your story. In fact, he's just getting started. Let your heart lean into the truth that his silence is not absence. His delays are not denials. And his ways, though higher than yours, are always wrapped in goodness and love. You can trust the one who sees the full picture, even when all you see are fragments. You can rest in the arms of the one who spoke the stars into place and still chooses to hold your heart with infinite care. Don't be afraid of the unknown. Jesus is already there. Don't fear the closed doors. He knows what lies behind them. And don't give up in the waiting, for it is often in the quiet spaces, in the sacred stillness, where your faith is strengthened and your roots grow deep. Lift your eyes again. Lift your heart again. Jesus has not changed his mind about you. His promises still stand. His purpose for your life is still unfolding. And what he started in you, he is faithful to complete. So breathe. Release what you can't control. Surrender the future you've been trying to predict. And trust that Jesus, who holds all things together, is also holding you. He walks with you. He fights for you. He intercedes on your behalf. You are never, ever alone. May your spirit find peace in his presence. May your steps be guided by his wisdom. And may your heart beat with the unshakable truth that Jesus is for you, with you, and forever beside you. Best wishes and abundant peace.